Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Welcome. Let's bring in the audio audience. This is the Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Welcome. Sisters and brothers, we're going to talk about the race to Armageddon. First, the Holocaust. Brothers and sisters, the Holocaust. That's what they're trying desperately you do not know about. And if you know about it, or if you're familiar with our history, to forget it or downplay it. They want to tell you it was all about slavery. No, it was not. Slavery was an economic part of it. If you're familiar with Abrahamic covenant, which you should be, if you're the seed of Abraham, which they don't want you to know about, which Martin Luther King tried to tell you about in the Promised Land speech, and it blew his head off the next day. It tells you that we'll be strangers in a land that is not ours, Mr. Farrakhan, because you claim it's our land. God said it's not ours. That's why Muhammad said it's not ours. His messenger, Elijah Muhammad, said it's not ours. There would be a fool to want to stay here in the land of our imprisonment. But you say, Mr. Farrakhan, that's ours. But the scripture says it's not. It's a land that is not ours, and we be enslaved and afflicted. So slavery does not include affliction. Look up the definition of slavery. It does not include what you see in that picture there. Murder, rape, dismemberment, burning, whipping, torture, on and on and on. Everything that was possible to be done to us, they did. Everything was, and anything that was impossible, they still found a way to do it. There was no limits to the horror we endured with these people. 24/7, 365, nearly 500 years of terror. It takes terror to maintain that system. Terror against babies, children, infants, toddlers, teenagers, adolescents, old age people, from the cradle to the grave, from the womb to the grave. They didn't start at the cradle, they started in the womb. Children, and they tell us to worry about their children. Children, terrorized, 24/7, no let up. Over 400 years. Programmed. Took 64 years to program you from 1565 to 1619. Turned to Negro butts. Trained not to ask any questions, to self-destruct, to do whatever master tells you to do, no matter what. And they fed you. The slavery part was horrific also, because minimum slavery was minimum overhead, maximum profit. So how did they minimize overhead? Because the food, when they used to slaughter the hogs, they used to throw the hog boys and what you call hog boys and chillings, the bowels and all that stuff, right? They used to throw that away. Nobody wanted that because it was shit, right? They didn't want that, threw it away. And they said, we ain't throw it away no more. We're going to feed it to them. And that's what they did. They fed us that, and to the extent they even cooked it, they didn't even move the shit out of it. They ate all. If you didn't eat it, they'd knock your teeth out and put a phone in your mouth and force it down your throat. and you didn't eat it with a fork and a spoon and a plate. They put it in a trowel. You look up a trowel. That's how they fed animals. And that's how they fed you. Chitlings. That's what they called it then. Now they call it chitlings because they want to sell it to you. Terror. They terrorized us. It takes terror to maintain that system. So we're not going to forget it. And you're in judgment right now because of it, because it says God will judge that nation that terrorized us. It told Abraham that it would be horror. When Abraham had a vision of horror. He had a vision of horror. Read the Abrahamic covenant. It's in the so-called New Testament and Old Testament. He had a vision of horror, not enslavement. And so the judge, someone say, oh, my father, we had to do my father. No, it says, it judged this nation that did it. So you're not getting away. Let's move on to our presentation, brothers and sisters. The Holocaust. Okay, brothers and sisters. Let me get my sound. Okay, brothers and sisters. Maybe a little sound off a little bit. Forgot to put my microphone on. Brothers and sisters. The race to Armageddon. Where's the race to Armageddon? That's what's going on right now. Because you have two major conflicts in the world right now, potential. That could blow up and throw the whole world into a blaze. That's war in Ukraine and the potential war in the Middle East between false Israel, Antichrist, and Iran. But I call it race to Armageddon. Now, everybody's nervous now, but they're nervous about what's happening in the Ukraine. They're nervous about that. Nervous about what's going on in Ukraine. And I'm telling you, that's not it. That falls on the category of wars and rumors of wars. Wars and rumors of wars. But most people think that's it. It's going to lead to Armageddon. And most of them that say it don't even know what Armageddon is. It's really Armageddon. And it's a European war. It's the last European war. It'll be confined to Europe. That's Armageddon. It's going to lead to a greater war. But the war of Armageddon exclusively is 9 plagues that refers to the European theater. But it's going to empower another war. It's going to empower China and India. See, that's the GOAT. That's going to finish off the European empire, European, what do you want to call it? European, reality. Anyway, it's going to shut down the age of Yaqub. So how are we to look at this? Now I'm going to tell you what the angel says. I'm a student of the angel. I broke the 7 seals and can prove it. So I'm going to tell you what my analysis is of the angel. So I have a little graphic that I'm going to present in a second. Race to Armageddon. Like I said, it's really Armageddon. That's a bad translation error. But it doesn't matter. You understand? And it's not a nuclear war. There will not be a nuclear war, but America will be nuked. But it will not be a nuclear war. It will not be a nuclear exchange. Master Muhammad will not let that happen. He will not let them destroy the earth. And they are willing to do that. There's a thing called dead hand. Russia has it. America has it. And I'm pretty sure China probably has it also. Where it's a concept where they have automated destruction of the planet. So they have programmed these computers that's armed with nuclear weapons that in the event that for some reason the government is destroyed and have ways of figuring it out, right? Maybe somebody pushed a button somewhere or somebody has to communicate a key at a certain time or every day or something. When they don't get that response, then they just automatically just release their nuclear weapons and blow up everything that they can get that's available. They target, destroy. America is targeted to destroy China, India, and Russia, and other countries too, African countries too. And you say, why would they want to do that if they weren't attacked by them? Because the idea is that whoever, if they have a nuclear war, whoever survives it will be the victor. Because that's it. So if America and Russia go at it and they blow each other up, right? Then China will be the new power. So in other words, China won the war, even though they weren't involved. They won the nuclear war. That's the logic of nuclear war. So they have to knock down everybody. Otherwise, right? Then whoever they don't knock down will be the new world powers. And these countries know that. They know if there's a nuclear war, even though they didn't participate, they still will get nuked. China has it. I'm pretty sure they probably do the same thing. Russia has it. They call it a dead hand. If we somehow don't survive, nobody will. And Master Muhammad will not allow that to happen. Called a dead hand. Look it up. Most of you not aware of that because your heads up, Kobe's and Magic Johnson and all that got hit up their ass while the world is closing in on you. It says come on you like a snare. Why? Because you ain't paying attention. Because you're in the eye of a hurricane. Because you think everything is mellow when the hell is whirling around you. They're doing that on purpose to keep you, right, pacified, calm, while they're closing on you. And then the hurricane moves, and you're not in the eye of it anymore, and then you're ripped to pieces, torn to pieces, because you wasn't paying attention. The race to Armageddon. So let me just start walking through this because we're not going to spend a lot of time with this today, brothers and sisters. I think it's time to say this. Again, this is my analysis. It says when they say, see right now, this is angel key for you don't wear this, right? And right now, Iran and Syria, those are two witnesses. Forget about those clowns talking about Elijah and Farrakhan, two witnesses. those people are really a joke over there. They're going to find out in a couple more days. I mean, when I say a couple more days, I literally mean a couple more days. Their ass is going to be sliding down Stony Island Avenue. Literally. Sliding down Stony Island, Chicago. Right? With Farrakhan on this wheelchair, trying to get away. You think not? You see me there? I'll be physically there in a few days. That's why I'm doing this. So we'll see. See if I'm right or wrong. Mr. Farrakhan, the preeminent prophet, the anointed one. He doesn't know shit about anything. All he knows is that he's ripping you off. He ain't produced a damn thing in 42 years. He keeps asking for economic money for economic program. Where's the economics? Age of Islam is officially broke, has no money. Check it out. You can Google it. But he's a multimillionaire. Yet he been asking money for the economic program in the Nation of Islam, but somehow it's getting in his pocket. Anyway, it says, when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction, as a child, as a woman in birth, giving birth. See, that's getting to angel language, which is the revelation or the apocalypse language. I'm not going to go into that kind of detail right here. Those angel has somebody they don't talk about when they say women pregnant, right? It's actually talking about Britain and America, but I'm not going to explain that, brothers and sisters. I want to get to the point here. But my read on this is, it says, when they say peace and safety, see, right now everybody's all nervous about this thing in Iran. They think it's going to lead to World War III. It's not. And then it's going to lead to Armageddon. It's not. Because what's going to trigger Armageddon, right? What's going to trigger Armageddon is the one in the Middle East. Michael's angels go to war to drag his angels. Michael's angels, the Shia, Iran and Syria. Drag his angels, false Israel, the Antichrist, Gog and Magog, American Britain. And they're about to go to war. Like I said, there's two spots. Middle East and Ukraine. Those are two big hot spots everybody's looking at. That's what I said, race to Armageddon. Which one? Which one is going to get there first? So they think the one in Ukraine is going to lead to it. I tell you, no, it's not. So we're going to see. But it said, just prior to that, when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction. Now, my read on that from the angel is that what's going to happen? See, because Mr. Farrakhan, he stuck his foot way up his behind, way up his ass when he, in his so-called swine song, he was claiming, all he did, it was a shit fest. That's what it was, period. It was a shit fest, a shit buffet for 5 hours. See, you had to brush your teeth with lye or with acid, get the taste out of your mouth. So it was a shit buffet, a shit fest. He ain't talking about nothing. But he did stick his foot way up his ass and he says, this war's going to break out in Europe. It's going to lead to Armageddon and all this stuff, right? And they're going to come to arrest him and crucify him. And brother and sister, I'm 73 years old, gotta be careful. I get a heart attack listening to those people. Because, they had you cracking up so much with that bullshit, right? Heart attack. They're so stupid. Anyway, good. Okay, just unpack that one. Now, I was with Elijah from 70-75, Elijah Muhammad from 70-75 in Chicago, in New Jersey, and that's a mosque somewhere, Temple Square. I was right there, Temple number 2 right? And I was a foreman at Palm Street newspaper. I was also a security guard, the whole 9 yards. Now, if someone that came and said, we're going to take and crucify Elijah Muhammad, even the thought, their head be ripped off. They had to get through me and all the other FY, even MGT. We don't call them to the battle, but they wouldn't have. They had to get through all of us to get anywhere near him talking that kind of talk. They going to crucify Elijah Muhammad? The only reason he went to prison because people stand down. The only reason why he went to prison back in the 40s because he told his people to stand down. Because he said, Master Muhammad told me I'll be going to prison. I'll be going through some of these type of things. So he told people to stand down. Because he hadn't, there would have been a war. And you're going to walk in the door and just walk past us and get Elijah Muhammad and crucify him? These clowns saying, yeah, they're going to come. Yeah, dumbass Ishmael, that boy is, I mean, how can he even claim that he's? I think he need a DNA test or something because he claimed he's like I'm his son, right? I need a DNA test or something, or maybe he got autism or something. I don't know. Something happened to him. He must have fell on his head or something. That boy is totally certified ignorant, stupid. So, and he's all he's tearing up and everything. They gonna come and get they gonna come and get Farrakhan. They gonna crucify him, and y'all gonna watch that and stand there and let him do it? Tell the boy certified ignorant. Y'all gonna stand there. That's your Messiah, the anointed one. He's the Son of Man now, and he's everybody. He's your Savior, and y'all gonna let the man just come in and just grab him and take him out and crucify him? Wannabe, see, those ain't no FI over there. They're jokes. He said Aaron will make them a mockery for the enemies, and that's exactly what he done. Nobody fears them. They're a joke. They're a joke. Wannabe. They couldn't shine the shoes of the FY that was around under Elijah Muhammad. They couldn't even shine shoes. They couldn't even pick up the shoes. They couldn't even look at the shoes. If they came around us, we'd stomp them in the ground. Because there ain't nothing. They can pretend they want to be, ain't nothing to them. They don't like come after me. They just found with a real FOI, real FY whooping. I'm 73 years old. Anyway, so when they say peace and safety, so what's the read on that? See, because this precedes the destruction. So you got to put these things together, like the sister said, connect the dots. And I've been telling you that this war, in your so-called war in Ukraine, it ain't it. So what's my read on it from the angel? That they're about to make a settlement because this war, all this is going to happen this year. See, Armageddon will take place this year. See, and God told you it'll be a silence for 6 months. And 6 months ends either this month or next month. That's silence in heaven. Then the war starts. That's talking about silence in heaven. And I know you have no idea what that means in Revelation. That's what it means, a 6 month period. So my read on this is that, because I said Farrakhan stuck his feet way up his ass. We think this is going to spread and it's going to turn into a world Armageddon and everything else. And then he put Elijah's name on it. Elijah was not a prophet. He was a messenger. He made a lot of mistakes. He thought the war of Armageddon was going to take place in the 70s. I know, because I heard him say it. See? I heard him say it in the 60s. Because like I said, we lived right around the corner from Temple 25, literally right around the corner. We was on Fairmont Avenue. It was right around the corner. I used to walk past it every day. I used to play the pinball machines. I was a kid, right? About 12 years old. Right? You used to play pinball machines. Most of you don't know what that is, right? Because they have video games and stuff now. I didn't know what it was. I never saw anybody even go in and out. See? And then one day my father took me in there. I had no idea why he was doing it, I had no idea what he was doing. But I heard the brother say, and this was like 61. I was about 12 years old. And I had the brother say, I remember, he wasn't a minister because I found who the minister was when I got my ex in 1970. August 21st, 1970. I was 21 years old. He said, the war Armageddon is going to take place in the 70s, and this was like 61. So I never went in again. My father never took me again. I didn't know what it was. I was a 12-year-old kid probably. He passed away 2 years later, right? And I didn't know he was processed. I know my father was hard on that hog, boy. He was hard on it. I know we stopped eating hog. I recall we stopped eating it. I didn't realize we stopped eating it because we were still eating meat, but I thought all meat was just meat. I didn't find out till later on when I got into when I learned about the difference between hog and beef, that we stopped eating that stuff. So he was processed, but I didn't know. Once I got my ex, Mom told me, you do that same thing Father doing, but she hid it from me too. She didn't want me to know. But once I got it, she told me, yeah, Father was doing that. So Don't know how far he got into it. I don't know if he actually finished processing or what, right? But I know he was processing. So Elijah, he made mistakes. He said, well, I'm not here to knock Elijah Muhammad, because as far as I'm concerned, he's one of the greatest men ever lived. But he said, the lesson says that he didn't get all right. So if people walk around with a message of black and all kind of stuff, first of all, this stuff ain't in there. They didn't see COVID in there. They don't see his war in there either. And what's about to happen, they don't see any of that. See? And they're going to pay the price. See? Because they're blocking this message into the blood of our people that's lost because lack of knowledge is on their hands. And it will not be washed off. And nothing they can say that's going to erase that. Because they had that chance. For 30 years I've been talking to these people, and now, as of last month, that's it. Your time. It's over. You had your chance, now it's over. Because a lot of people are going to be lost in a minute. So this is my understanding. This is the way I'm understanding based on what Angel is saying. Right? I've been studying wrote the seals in 1990. I've been studying it for over 30 years. Right? And my understanding is that they're going to have a resolution in Ukraine very soon. Very soon. Based on my calculation, maybe within days. They have a settlement. Because everybody's anxious right now. Oh man, it's going to be World War III. And you see on the news, everybody's anxious. They're nervous. What's going to happen? And then plus the impact it happened, right, on the economy and everything else. See? Everybody's nervous. Inflation, all that kind of stuff. And they blame on that war. I think they'll have a settlement. When they have a settlement, everything will calm down. Everybody's going to take a deep breath. But before they let it out, the war in Europe, before they let that breath out, the war is going to kick off in the Middle East. That's my take on it. I'm not going to delete it. I don't delete my archives. I've been talking for 30 years, and if you go back and look at everything I've been saying, that's happened exactly I've been saying it, with one exception. That's stood about Jonah, and read that. That's part of the prophecy. So he would prophesy that Obama would be the last president. He didn't want to do it. He ended up spending 3 years in an island off the sea because he didn't want to do it, because he didn't believe that Master Muhammad would take America out at that time. And then when he realized he agreed to go do it, then Master Muhammad didn't take it out. It's like a Jonah. That actually happened. It's documented. It's been 3 years in Guam. They locked me down over there. I wouldn't get out. Once I agreed to come back and say that, which I didn't want to do, and then he didn't take him out, just like a Jonah. So they said, that's a sign. It's a strange sign to me, but that's a sign of Jonah, that he would make a prophecy that didn't happen. But I can understand it, because it said that's the only sign given to this wicked generation. So they don't care. Okay, we'll give you a sign. It's going to confuse you even more. So besides that, and that's prophesied. Besides that, everything else been right on time. COVID, right on time. George Floyd, 5 months on time, right? Russia and America, like I said, about, we have it on that. I explain when it says, I bring division, mother against daughter, father against son, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law. I explained that when it said mother against daughter, that's America against Russia. It's right out there. I specifically said it means Russia against America. And I said mother against daughter is Russia against America. And father against son is Britain against you. And I said that years ago, before Brexit, before they broke apart. So it's there. So make a liar out of me. But that's my take on it. My take is that they're about to, and that's gonna really hang Farrakhan's foot up their ass, because he said it's gonna break out. And when it does it, I want this line Ishmael to get up and say, because he was saying, he's really trying to attack me, because they're paying attention to this, and they're worried. Their nerves are there because they're falling apart over there. They're drying up. Because it said, instead of addition, who the Lord would consume with the spirit of his mouth, but destroy what is coming, they're being consumed over there because they're liars. See, Farrakhan exposed as a demon he is. It follows the devil. That's what a demon is. Half devil, half man. You're the devil's seed because of rape, intense, relentless rape about women for over 40 years. Half the blacks in America are demons. They're master seed. And you, whatever your father is, this lie about one drop of black blood, blood, that's totally unscientific. It's totally not biological. I mean, it's totally stupid. It's ignorant. You're going to put an orange seed in the ground, somehow the ground will turn to an apple seed. The sperm is the seed. The egg is living material, but it's not alive. The sperm is, and it's conscious. I could not be conscious if it may be very low conscious from your point of view, but it's conscious because it finds its way to the egg, doesn't it? The egg is not finding a way to any place, just sitting there. It's not sitting waiting for anything, it's just there, it's not conscious of anything. But that's my read. When they say peace, who? It says sudden destruction come on them. So we know destruction is going to be on the American bitch. It says, woe to those who are pregnant, right? Because so you have to understand, I'm not going to explain that. I could. I really could take time to explain these things today, but I'm not going to do it. Because I explain it thoroughly enough. I have plenty of presentations out there on YouTube. Go look. Explain exactly what that means. I show you the angel key and explain it. But it says, woe to those who are pregnant with a child. They're not talking about women pregnant. They're talking about America and Britain. But you understand angel key. You understand that. And when you see that, right? See, it says, woe to them, because that's at a point of abomination of desolation where false Israel is taken down. And that's when you have to flee to the mountains. All that's angel language. But it says, it says sudden destruction. So we know destruction is coming on God and make Britain. So that's the one where destruction come on. And that happens when they go to war in the Middle East. Because they're kicked out and they immediately go into Armageddon. Immediately goes into Armageddon. Because partly because they're going to blame Russia for their defeat. Even though it went they help way beyond Russia. But they ain't going to tell the American people about those little flying things up there. They say it's true. They come claim out of space from the some galaxy far away. No, Elijah Muhammad told me exactly what they were. There's Master Muhammad. That's Michael. It says Michael's angels. Is Michael goes to war with Dragon and his angels? They start the war. And it says Dragon angels fought back. So Master Muhammad starts the war. Why? Because they're pretending something. It said if he didn't intervene, those days wasn't short. No life would survive. No life, no flesh would survive. So they panic because they're flirting with World War III right now. Why would they flirt with something like that? Why would America be flirting with Russia when they know they cannot possibly win that war? Now, in a biological sense, they can't win it. They can't win a nuclear war with Korea, not in a biological sense. Korea has enough weapons to destroy America, and America would not be viable in any kind of way if they went to war with Korea. They'd have to totally wipe out all their weapons for Korea to get anything off the ground, and that wouldn't be possible. But they could, no. See, they see me about so much stuff, brothers and sisters. I'm going to outline a couple of things. You heard EMP? EMP means electromagnetic pulse. If Korea was to ignite a nuclear weapon a mile above Central America, in America, the plane somewhere like maybe Central United States, maybe Kansas, something like that, right? That would knock out all electronics in America. Your car wouldn't move, your electronics, you couldn't turn your computer on, nothing. it would knock it out. I don't know how long it would do it, but it would be a long time. It would just fry it all. Korea could do it by itself. So say Korea had 20 nuclear weapons. They didn't have more than that. And they have submarines. That's another story right there. So Korea's like a little backyard country, right? So it wouldn't take that many nuclear weapons to knock it out. But it's more agricultural country. So you really be wasting nuclear weapons. But if they drop one weapon on New York, you see the difference? See? They'll destroy much more than America could do to them. And they just knock out 4 or 5 cities. New York, LA, Chicago, Atlanta, 4 or 5 cities. America would recover from that. So they could it would be lopsided. See, they said they go into war, it's like big old giant, he got a knife, right? And you got a little midget over there, he got a machine gun. I don't know if it's a good analogy, but the idea. See? So it's nuclear, you gotta think different. And that's just North Korea. And China is much worse. And Russia's even worse than that. Because they got more nuclear weapons than America has. And they got this dead hand eye concept I told you about. So there's no way that they go into nuclear war with any of those people. Right? And then you just got India and Pakistan over there. There's no way they go to nuclear war with any country and come out whole. See? Like I said, all North Korea had to do is get up 2 or 3 nuclear weapons. And that would cripple America. They have to get them all of them. Just go up 2 or 3. Well placed. And then you got the submarines. You know, Russia has more submarines than America has. And they've been knowing this since, I should read this called Science America magazine. They used to publish this stuff. I haven't read it in 20 years. I don't know what they publish anymore. But they publish that all around America in international waters. International waters mean 5 miles out. In other words, if you 5 miles out the coast in international waters, nobody can touch you. So you got a 5-mile safety zone. If you in that, then you inside American territory, and then you fair game. But if you're 5 miles out, like when I was in Florida, right, they had like this cruise ship. And they allowed gambling in Florida, so the cruise ship would take you 5 miles out, and you can gamble all you want. And then after a certain time, they bring you back in. Called international waters. And Russia has a whole ring of submarines out 6 miles out. So you think if they go to war with Russia, you got missiles have to come over from Russia here? No, they come right 6 miles out. That means before you can blink an eye, Chicago's gone. Well, maybe not Chicago, but all the East Coast is gone, all the West Coast is gone. Just like that. Bam. It don't take that long for a missile to go 6 miles. But they don't tell you that. See? It's all bullshit. But there's not going to be a nuclear war. Because they say those flying wheels that come out, they said one thing they do tell you, that they are circling all their nuclear sites. And then they find out that when they come near one, they leave, they disable that site. Do I tell you something? He's not going to allow it to happen. But it says, if those days were not short, no soul, no flesh should be left alive. Because they're planning something. I know I'm not going to talk about it here. I might sit some things close around it, but they're planning something, and he's going to intervene and do it before they can make their move. What it's talking about. That's why I said in the 6th seal, the figs was cast before they were ripe. The figs are American Britain. But you don't understand that. So this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that any day now, they're going to come to some kind of agreement about the Ukraine situation, and everybody's going to take a deep breath. Peace and safety following, because everybody's nervous. Everybody's nervous about this going to turn to a big war with inflation and everything else. And the threats, they threaten a nuclear war. I've never seen anything like this in my whole 73 years. They actually threatened a nuclear war. The only time there was any kind of close to a threat was in the 60s when Kennedy was threatening Khrushchev about having missiles in Cuba. Now, America went ballistic about them having missiles in Cuba, which is what, 3,000 miles away or something like that from D.C.? Yet, when Russia says, I don't want missiles in Ukraine, which is right next door, they want to go to war with that. But America wouldn't tolerate Russia having missiles 3,000 miles away. But they want Russia to tolerate them having missiles right next door. This is all bullshit. And they wasn't actually threatening, well, they didn't actually say directly it was threatening nuclear war, but that was the understanding that if they didn't move those missiles, that they might end up in a nuclear war. But they're actually threatening a nuclear war right now. Russia's actually threatening a nuclear war. I've never seen anything like it. And everybody knows, I've been, with those that working with me, I've been talking about this for over 30 years. And those people, some of the people know that it's been a couple of years. They know since I talked about COVID, that everything moves speed up. Things speed up. Things move so fast. Every time you look around, something happens. Speeding up. Because that's the time is speeding up. It moves faster and faster. As I said, like a woman having a baby, right? But childbirth, so the pains come quicker and quicker and quicker. That's what's happening right now. And these things going to move very quick. I told you, if To Armageddon is going to take place this year, I'm on record saying this. And I'm not backing down. Mr. Farrakhan, Mr. Silas, and all you clowns out there. What you got to say about it? You got a lot to say about it after it happens. So that's my take on it, brothers and sisters. When they say peace, so that means my interpretation of that is that they're going to have a settlement over there any day now. Everybody take a deep breath. Before they can let out, bam, war breaks out in the Middle East. And that's what's going to trigger Armageddon. Because America and Britain is going to be just demolished. They're going to be kicked out of it, humiliated. False Israel's going to go into siege. That's abomination of desolation. Because it said when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, this should be enough for you right here, brothers and sisters. You see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. No, its destruction is near. It's destruction. Jerusalem is the capital of what? Who controls Jerusalem? That means it falls to Israel over there. That means they're going to be destroyed. It says it. But that can't be if they're true to Abraham, because once they return, they would not be uprooted. But it says when they return, they will return to little Palestine. They return to Greater Arabia. That's what it said, between the Euphrates and to now. So that's a lie right there. Because that shows they're not real. And when they return, there will be no walls or anything. They'll be in peace. Are they in peace over there? They haven't had one day of peace since they've been there. They're a big lie. We're the truth to Abraham. That's what they're trying to cover up. See, with slavery and all this BS. It's truth about to come out, bro. When it comes out, that's it. When the abomination of desolation, it goes down. When false Israel goes down, the truth be universal. There's going to be a shockwave. They say flee, because then these people are going to know that you're the truth to Abraham. They know all the hell they catch it, because at that time they're going to be at war in Europe. They're going to be catching hell over here, right? Have insurrection here. The whole country's falling apart. They're going to be hunger, famine here. They already tell you they have a problem right now with this Ukraine thing. They're going to have food shortage and everything. What do you think will happen once the war starts? They say you'll be starving here, famine. They say it's going to be so bad, right? Because I mean, it ain't going to be no pests this time next year if they survive getting that far. They said it'd be so bad that a woman giving birth is going to do it in secret. I talked to her, I said, how can you keep that quiet? They said, what's she going to do? Because she want to eat the baby that she's about to give birth to. She don't want nobody else to have no part of it. It's in the Bible, read it. That's what's about to happen here. And you're going to be right in the middle of it if you don't wake up, brothers and sisters. See? We're trying to give you a ticket home. Farrakhan tell you ain't going nowhere. He called Elijah Muhammad and Master Muhammad a liar. Because that's the whole purpose. Master Muhammad come here, tell us he's going to enforce that covenant. And he said Elijah Muhammad to warn us to prepare us to go home. Prepare us for a messenger of the covenant who Joshua would actually take us home. We ain't going nowhere because he's a demon. He's Legion. Louis Eugene Brown, so they know I'm backwards. The demon. Let's move on with this, brothers and sisters. Okay, see there? What does that mean right there? See, that means now that's the war takes place, and now Iran Syria has moved into the mid-heaven, and they kick America and Britain back down to earth. Yes, you understand? Angel key for that. They kicked them out of the mid-heaven, kicked them out of the Middle East. Kicked them out. The Middle East is called mid-heaven. So they kicked them out. That's the war. Now they have control, total control of the Middle East, total control all that oil. That's what caused Europe to collapse. Read chapter 18. It's going to cause a collapse because Europe got two sources of oil. I'm talking about Western Europe. Germany, France, that's Western Europe. They totally depend upon oil from the Middle East and from Russia. Why? See where I'm going with that? So now they participated in America's war against them. I mean, Western Europe participated in America's war against the Shia, Syria, and Iran, and now they have control of the whole Middle East. All the oil, they cut them off. See, but they have war in Europe, and the economy just collapsed. And they don't have any oil. They cut off. And so the only source they get oil from is Russia, but they fight with Russia. Russia won't get them oil while they fight with them, so now the economy collapses. So then they say, well, America, you got to give us oil. America said, we can't get oil, we're at war. Plus, there's no way we can get to you in sufficient supply because we can't ship by plane, we have to ship by ship. And that means it takes a while for ships to get there. Plus, we got the Russians out there submarine, they're not going to let the oil get to you. So the only choice they got, if they want to keep the economy going, they want to be viable, is to go with Russia and turn on America. And that's exactly what's going to happen. America will be alone, since all their love is going to turn on them. Okay. Well, that's what happens here. So now they're kicked out. I'm showing you energy, I'm showing you emotion. Okay? So this is what happens. And so that's when after 18 Babylon falls. That means now America is at war with Russia, East Europe, and Western Europe. Whilst Israel was under siege, surrounded by armies. And Britain, right? If America's in war with Europe, Britain's in war with Europe also. But they're also being threatened by China and North Korea, which they're going to be taken out. That's no story. That's the situation right here. And Suleiman, that's when he comes to the NOI. And he throws out the demons, throws out Farrakhan, cleans it up, and repairs them, getting their mind back, and prepares them to go to tribulation because they're not going with us. They're not departing with us. Because they failed their mission. They would allow themselves to be betrayed by Farrakhan, son of perdition, who made war with the saints, who came them. So now they got to go to tribulation because read Mark. Said, no, you can't go with us. You have to go back because all our people still out there. And then you got to go through this with them because it tells you when Michael delivered, it says he delivered those in Lamb's book. Those ones that was read. But that after he delivered, then those who slept in the dust, it means our people are still asleep. Then they awaken, some in everlasting life, some in everlasting atonement. See, that means they got to go to tribulation. But those rejectors, those time angels, those lies like Eric and Styles, all those clowns, right? They're not demons, right? They're going to be punished severely, everlasting punishment, not some hell somewhere. That's no story. That's it. Some everlasting life, some everlasting shame and torment. They would put the shame and Paul because they didn't help say this, help this message, and so all and many of our people lives were lost as a result of. Hold on, brothers and sisters. I got a situation here. Okay. A second, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters, I'm back at the cup. Second here, brothers and sisters. Let me get myself set up here again. Got ahead and left that alarm on. Okay. Okay, brothers and sisters, and we're pretty close to wrapping this up anyway. So again, false Israel under siege. America and Britain was kicked out of the Middle East. They had war in Europe. Immediately, now this is Armageddon. This is Armageddon. False Israel, surrounded army is about to be destroyed. They're under siege. This will last a little while, because it said last long enough, then start eating each other. That's what it says. Okay, so let's go to the next one here. Then false Israel was taken down, abomination of desolation. And said, flee, because at that time, the word's going to go out. They were true to Abraham, and it wasn't them. And all the hell they catching, because read what it said about those 9 plagues. The 9 plagues are plagues that's all allocated to Armageddon. I'm not going to explain it here, right? But it's a European war, those 9 plagues. And the purpose of them was to be released back out of here, back home. When they realize they catch all this hell, America's going to be catching it overseas. They're getting whipped over there. Their men are mutinying. They mutinying. They won't fight. It says they'll be hiding in alleyways, holding their groins, because they're going to start waving the flag. But when they, because see, they've been bullies all the time, fighting people that couldn't fight back and weak armies. Now they're fighting some real war, and now they get their ass kicked, and now they won't fight. Yeah, devil, fear, full of fear. And they got that problem there. They want to talk some of you to going over there And then they got insurrection going here. The Christian blacks, demons, they're going to be in war with them. That's another story altogether. I'm not going into detail there, but that's what's happening here. When the consortium goes down, they're going to realize you are the reason why they have all this stuff going on. Because they're under punishment. Because it says, the war of Armageddon, when you look at it from that point of view, the whole purpose of it was to break them, so they'll force them to let you go. When you understand it from that point of view, as opposed to the 9 plagues, because you don't realize that 9 plagues are the war of Armageddon. It says all this will come upon Babylon or America in one day. That means 1 year. See? So all this is going to happen in 1 year. It's already, once that war breaks out, it's already started actually. 6 months in. Okay. So there, did you see that? Let me go back and show you that slow motion now. Then the 4 winds blow. Then the 4 winds blow. That's another problem for America. Of course, and God can make America and Britain. 4 winds blow. I'm not going to explain to you what that is right now, but it's terrible. It's terrible for you. But that causes, because remember in Ezekiel, 4 winds cause the rise of Lazarus, our nation, come together. It all comes together, see? But half of it is demons. That's the chaff and wheat. It says, the harvest, they all be harvested together. He told Elijah, you can't, see that 4th wind on top, right under the mass from Muhammad, I didn't change it, but that's Elijah. That wind is Elijah, the 4th wind is him. It says, minister to both. Don't try to separate. See, that demon, that green demon, that's the chaff. And the saint, that's the wheat. It says, minister to both, because it says, you can't separate. It says, true don't have to do that. So now they all come together, that's harvest. And now, right, at this point, this is where they're thrown out, right? And we, the elect, right? We take Master Muhammad deliver us out of here, right? And the NOI, the man that was plagued by demons, right? See? They have to go to tribulation. He's left behind to go to tribulation to gather the rest of our people together. I think I said, brothers and sisters. I'm not going to take it any further. I just want to get you to understand, yeah, that's it. That's it. So I just want to point out the race to Armageddon. See? So who you listen to? Well, forecaster, because it's not going to be a photo finish. See, you got Farrakhan saying, oh, Ukraine's going to win that race. The war with Russia and Ukraine's going to win that race. I'm telling you, the angel says no. It says Iran and false Israel is going to win that race. The Antichrist. That war is going to happen first. So I'm on record. And I'm not saying next 10 years from now, I'm talking about this year, I'm talking very soon. Within the next 60 days, if not sooner. See, because right now, it's very tense. And they telling you, I've been saying it for years. I said, Iran is not going up back on the JCPOA. And they tell us that, now they're telling you right now, even America saying it, and the UN, that Iran is like seconds away from nuclear weapon. They said they can't let them have it. It can't happen. And America said they don't go back to JCPOA. The only option is war. False Israel is already training right now for war with Iran. They're actually training, practice and run. So the war, race to Armageddon, who's going to win that race? I'm calling it for Iran and false Israel. So Farrakhan, he's calling it for Ukraine and Russia. So we see who win the race. And when Iran wins that race, right? When the war in the Middle East wins that race, I wonder if he's going to get up and say, we can't listen to Farrakhan no more. Because he's been saying, when a man prophet says something and it doesn't come to pass, that means we shouldn't listen to him no more. I wonder if he's going to get up and say that. Because he's stupid. He's stupid. He's too stupid so he ain't gonna say that because he knows what side of bread his bread's butter on. See, because Farrakhan got him by the balls. Because he knows he would never have a position like that in the real world, in any reality. Because the boy is certified as stupid. If he wasn't doing his Farrakhan, his spokesman, and the boy is total idiot, right? He couldn't get a job at McDonald's sweeping the floor because the boy's an idiot. So he's going to say whatever he needs to say, whatever Farrakhan tell him to say, because Farrakhan got him by the balls, because he got to say what he makes Farrakhan upset. He's a homeless. He's literally homeless. When he go back to smoke with his Mexican buddy, he got to wear an FY uniform, which is a blasphemy. That's a blasphemy. And we're going to clean that up. He's going to be one of the first ones we cast his ass out. Up there, when they were slave owners too. And he got devils in there wearing FY uniforms. It's sickening. We're going to clean that up in a minute. We ain't talking about years no more. You better get your wheelchair greased, Farrakhan, because you're going to need it. You better put a motor behind it, because you're going to need to get your ass rolling down Stone Island, because we're after you. We know who you are. You know who you are. But you're living off these people. It says you be cursed with a curse. Right there, Malachi said you've been ripping off this whole nation. So you've been robbing this whole nation. Who's robbing the nation? It ain't Elijah. He didn't rob it. Matter of fact, Muhammad, he didn't rob it. I didn't rob it. Not there. It's you. You've been robbing whole nation 40-some years. You didn't produce a damn thing, but you've got these long strips, cars and mansions and everything else traveling over the planet. And where you been? Plus you got the citizens on the street pimping. You got pimping these citizens on the street, making money for you, doing fundraisers. You're sick. You're a punk. Got these citizens. Without Muhammad never put citizens on the street doing anything. Got them on the street doing fundraisers because these so-called wannabe FOI, they ain't gonna sell that stupid paper. You don't even print your own damn paper. When they sell those papers, the ones that do sell it, you ain't making money for the NY. You make money for the devil that print the paper for you. This whole thing is sick. And he's a multi-millionaire, but the United Islam is worth zero. And you got sisters out there. And now he said he admitted in this swine song, he's humping a bunch of them. Well, at least he used to be, because I don't know what he's doing with it now, because he's been disemboweled, because he says we're cursed with a curse. That's what he's cursed. So you're cursed with a curse. Ask any brother what's the worst curse you can think of? Disembowelment. Remove your balls. Anybody tell you, they'd probably rather be dead. That's the curse he's cursed with. Because he's been robbing this whole nation. He's a thief and a liar. Nobody ever called. See, nobody ever called him a liar. Well, that's a lie right there. I call him a liar every day. From somebody, nobody ever called him a liar. I'm calling him a liar from start to finish. He's a no good, lying, he's a punk. He's a coward. He allowed Wallace, old dumbass Wallace, to punk him. I'll tell you that story, it's pathetic. I'm not going to that, bro, because I just want to concentrate on here. Understand this, right? The race to Armageddon, who's going to win that race? I'm telling you, it's going to be Iran, the war with Iran, and Antichrist falls Israel. Farrakhan's telling you it's going to be Ukraine and Russia. The race to Armageddon. So we'll see. I already know. But you'll see. And like I said, see if they can get up and say, we can't listen to Farrakhan, he was wrong. But he supposed to prophet, he supposed to know. See? So we're going to send your ass up yonder. That's what you say you're going. You're right. But you ain't going home. But well, you are going, but this is your home because you're a devil. You're a black-faced devil. But we're going home to the promised land. We're going home, brothers and sisters. Those who want to go home, you got two routes out. Right? You go to first class. Master Muhammad's going to deliver us. First class. Get on board with this message. Don't cost you anything. I'm asking for a dime. We don't tell you, we don't even tell you what to do here. We just tell you to be faithful to the truth. The people's work with me, I don't tell them what to do. I refuse to tell them because we make turn people into God. You don't have to tell God what to do. And they don't want their money. They couldn't give me a dime they wanted to. I never asked anybody for a dime at all. What I need your money for? What God needs your money for? That's these clowns do. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We're going to leave it there. The race to Armageddon. It's not going to be a photo finish. It's going to be close, though. It's going to be a clear winner. And you're going to learn a few more days. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Let me close out my audio audience. Thank you for listening, audio audience. This is a Black Alert segment, the Fire Zone. Fire Zone out. For video audience, remember the Holocaust, not slavery. Don't let them tell you about no slavery. Assalamu alaikum.